Okay, so we are recording this, just so the couple of people who couldn't make it can watch it and see what everybody looks like and hear the answers to questions and questions you have. So again, I'm Carly Webster. I'm the manager of the Education Abroad office, and I work really closely with our resident director for this program.
Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca. You can see me. Education Abroad advisor.
Ridiculous. Okay, so I'm just going to go from left to right on my screen. Allie, do you want to start?
Sure.
Again, sorry, name, school, major.
Perfect. I'm Allie Salisbury. I go to Loyola University Chicago. I'm a junior and I'm studying communications and women and gender studies.
Great. And Ashley, I was just about to call on you.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm Ashley.
That's okay.
I'm a sophomore at St. Louis University, and I'm studying public health and American Studies double major with a minor in urban poverty studies.
Great. Carolina?
Hi, I'm Carolina Luna. I go to Loyola in Chicago. I'm a junior and I'm studying history and international studies.
Ethan?
Hi, I'm Ethan. I go to Creighton. I'm a marketing major and hopefully a graphic design minor as well.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a sophomore and I go to Creighton with Ethan as well. And I'm doing healthcare policy in the PPA track. So, yeah.
Great. And Natalie?
Hi, I'm a sophomore at Loyola Chicago. I'm majoring in advocacy and social change.
Okay, great. So, we will just get going here. I'm wondering how, we had that earlier session that at least a couple of you joined us for to talk about the student study permit visa process. How is that going for everyone?
Good.
That's all right.
I'm waiting on the national background check.
Yeah.
So a couple of you have gotten that back already?
No, I don't have it. I don't have it back.
You don't have
I've
it back.
just sent
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Carolina, were you nodding your head that yes, you've gotten yours back?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But hopefully soon.
Okay. Okay. So do you guys have, I guess we'll just start with that. Do any of you have any questions about that process?
Rebecca, I sent you an email. Did you by chance get it a little while ago?
Oh, Rebecca?
A little while ago. Was it today?
It was last week, last Wednesday or Thursday.
What was your question?
It was about the UWC application.
Yeah, you were the one that had that funky decline.
Yeah.
message. I actually just talked to Carly about it yesterday, and I think you mentioned it was just probably administrative error.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm guessing is there might have been something that you entered just because we told you to enter whatever, and Malachi maybe didn't get in there in time.
Huh.
Yourself. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So Casey and Ethan, we can't see or hear you, so you have to turn on your video or at least unmute your microphone. But Ashley, what I was saying is I think that maybe there was just something that wasn't corrected in time, or it's something that it was probably an automatic system sort of kickback. So we'll just email Malachi, or I'm supposed to Skype with him tomorrow morning. Was he going to join us for this?
He was going to, yeah.
And then he can get it sorted out on that end. But I wouldn't worry about it because no one's ever not been accepted that we've nominated. It's just getting you through the process. So.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. I was just a little flustered about it.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay. I'm sorry. I should have responded to tell you that I was talking to Carly.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I'm going to WhatsApp Malachi right now, too, to see if he can as those of you who joined us for the study permit session know, sometimes he has problems with internet, so he might just be having problems with that right now. Yeah. Casey, can you say something so we know if we can hear you? Nope, still can't. Okay. So we'll just hope that she gets that figured out. Were there any other questions about the study permit process?
The only thing that I'm a little bit confused on is the police clearance, but I'm getting that like through the state of Iowa, so I think that I'm doing the right thing.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's just like a little bit unclear as to like what it's looking for, because what I'm gonna get through the state of Iowa is like a not like a letter like the example you showed us. It's just gonna be like your cleared document kind of thing.
Okay.
So
As long
I
as
think
it
that
has-
it's yeah.
Yeah, as long as it has some sort of official letterhead or stamp or seal or something on it, that should be fine. We've had students get them from our local police department, they've gotten them from the state, they've gotten them from a city police department, and so far I haven't heard of anyone that theirs has been rejected. So I think any of those will work. It's just,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
I'm not really sure what the requirement is for on the consulate side, but
Yeah. Okay.
it should
Cool.
work. Okay.
I also sent them the culturegram for South Africa,
Great.
if you wanted to reference that at all.
Good.
Did you guys all get that email with the culturegram attached and that? Did anyone read that article?
Pardon?
Did anybody read that article, the USA Today?
I didn't read the USA Today one yet.
Oh yeah, I just read it like right before this. It was
Okay.
interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Just some food for thought.
Yeah.
Christina, looks like we can't see or hear you. And we still can't see or hear Ethan or Casey if you are actually there. Feel free to message us if you can't figure it out. So, yeah, the culturegram, so that's really to just kind of give you a little bit better understanding, hopefully, of some of the cultural norms. Obviously, they are generalizations. It's a big country. Everybody's different. But just to give you an idea of some of the things you might encounter. And then also sort of related to culture, but from another aspect, you should have received something to sign up for the Intercultural Development Inventory, the IDI, and it should have come from Jessica Lothman, who's in our office. And she, is this still recording? Okay, just because we timed out.
Yeah.
You guys will need to complete that. If you could complete it, just give a timeline. Did any of you see a timeline in the message she sent?
I thought that it was like last Friday. Or maybe it's this Friday.
It might have been, yeah. I just know that a lot of people haven't done it yet. So if you haven't done it yet, if you could make sure you go in and do that, it's all online. It's sort of a tool that we use to assess intercultural competency before you go. And then we have you take it at the end as well. And so part of it is to look at how you grew over the course of the program.
We will have one last meeting with the IDI. It's going to be actually you guys and Jess. I think she's going to be for the 30th, November 30th, probably around 5 p.m. Central Time. So just keep that in mind. I'll send you guys an email just to confirm the date and the information. But yeah, if you can just get that IDI completed, and then you'll have a meeting with us regarding that.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think we need it, but everybody's getting everything figured out with the documents that need to be notarized, all of that. Yeah. Okay. So you should have actually just this afternoon, not too long ago, to that online portal where you applied for the program. You should see a Marquette acceptance letter. So if you log in, you have a document center, you can go in. The Marquette acceptance letter will give you the documentation that you've been accepted by the U.S. university. If you're getting your health insurance through Marquette, it will also be your verification of health insurance. You can use that. If you're not getting your health insurance through Marquette, and I think that's just SLU students, it could be Loyola Chicago. We're still waiting to hear from them. Then you need to get your proof of insurance coverage through your home school. So the one big thing that you're still waiting on, sort of that you don't have control over, is the UWC acceptance letter. So at least I'm pretty sure we haven't seen those yet. And I will follow up with Malachi tomorrow to find out how soon we should have those. But those come from UWC, they get sent to me, and then again, we'll upload them to that same document center in your online registration. Make sure you double check that to make sure your name is spelled correctly and everything, just because it is an official document to be used for your study permit application. And then just another reminder about that. I know I mentioned this towards the end of the last session, but make sure that when you are bringing all of your study permit materials to whichever consulate you're going to, that you're also bringing a self-addressed, stamped, or paid for return envelope so they can send your passport with the study permit back to you. So it'll be something you're going to write it out to yourself. You're going to pay for it. I would highly suggest you pay for insurance and tracking on it as well. And then when they're done processing your visa, they'll mail it back to you using that envelope. Okay. And you can just go to any post office and ask for a self-addressed prepaid return envelope, and they can help you with that. Okay. The other thing is Malachi had sent a list of, there's a number of people who still haven't uploaded their resume or their service site preferences in our online portal. I'm going to try and find that real quick. Okay. So just you guys make sure you do that, because that's all things that Malachi needs to help start figuring out what places he's going to place you in. I'm also getting a lot of feedback, so if you guys could mute yourselves maybe when you're not talking, just hopefully that'll help. Thank you. And so any questions about service sites or placements or anything like that?
I also have a question about the FBI fingerprinting.
Okay. Sure.
I'm doing that tomorrow. I was gonna do New Jersey, but now I'm doing it in New York because I can't go home.
Okay.
But they need like an address. Where do I send them to?
For the background check results?
Yeah, would that just be to myself?
Yeah, I would have it sent to you at Fordham. Okay. I mean, you could have it sent to your home address depending on where you think you're going to be when you have to apply, but since you have to apply at the consulate in New York, I would think it'd be better if you get everything together at Fordham, so just when you have it, you can go.
I live on campus, so
okay.
I'll probably just leave my apartment here, but okay. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay. Let's see here. Sorry, I can't find that list. Okay, so billing for the program. This is something that I think I'm going to have Becca send you guys each an email, probably by institution, as to how you will be billed, because it is dependent on which school you go to as to what you're going to be billed for. So you may have seen the Marquette tuition amount out there. It is a reduced tuition amount for the non-Marquette students just by a little bit. There's a housing fee of $2,300. There's a transportation fee of $1,200. And then the insurance, if you're getting through us, it's $38 per month. So it's like $190. And that's an estimate. It could go up a little bit next year, but should be pretty close to that. So what we do is each of your home institutions tells us if they want us to bill them, and then they're in turn billing you, or if they want us to bill you for those extra housing, transportation, and insurance. So it could be that if you go to SLU, you're going to pay some things to us and some to SLU, but if you go to Loyola Chicago, you're going to pay everything to Loyola Chicago. So I think what we'll do is we'll send out a summary there of by school what you need to pay. We're still collecting some of that information from your schools for this year, but once we have that, so just make sure you understand that. The flight information. So did I send that? Yeah.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
I think some of you had questions on that group flight.
So again, what we usually do for the group flight is we will come up with a suggested or recommended flight that we want you to get on. Usually it's from Amsterdam to Cape Town. And then we say what you can do is you can call XYZ travel agent. I think it's STA Travel that we're going to be working with. And you can call them and say you're going to be with the Marquette Cape Town, South Africa group for spring 2018. Give them the airport you're flying out of and say you want to be on the Marquette recommended last leg of the flight. So it could be that you are flying out of Washington, D.C., because that's where your home is and that's where you'll be in the end of January. And then maybe they would book you a flight from DC to Amsterdam, and then you would be on that group flight from Amsterdam to Cape Town. Now, we understand that that's not always going to be the best, most cost-efficient method for everyone. So you are welcome to look at other flights. We would still really like you to try and get on that group flight if you can, because we're going to have group transportation arranged to pick everybody up based on that group flight. But if you find a lot better deal somewhere else, you could certainly look at arriving a little bit earlier than when the group flight arrives, and then you'll just need to hang out at the airport for a while until the group flight gets there. If there's something, really specific that you can't arrive during that group flight time, please let us know what you're looking at, and we can see if we can get Malachi or Pernal to come and pick you up at the airport at that different time. Questions about that? No? Okay, so we will be sending you that recommended group flight and the phone number to call or email. I think they have an online booking tool you can look at too, so it's really up to you. If you need to use airline miles or something like that, you might need to go about it a different way. But just let us know if you have any other questions. Okay, and then like I said, Malachi and Pernal will pick you up from the airport. They'll have a sign that says, Marquette University group, because then you will be considered part of the Marquette group. To go through customs, you'll need to, I guess my one big thing is make sure that you always have your passport and the address of where you're staying with you in your carry-on. And also we'll go into that a little bit later, but when you get there, you'll have to go through customs. I don't know if any of you have flown internationally, but it's usually going to the baggage claim, picking up your bag. Sorry, you go through one level of security checks, and then you get your bag, and then you go through another level of security checks. So it does take a while for you to get through security once your flight lands. Make sure your parents, significant others, anyone who wants to hear from you as soon as you get there knows that, you're not going to be able to contact them immediately upon landing unless you have an international plan that kicks in right away. But even to get through customs and all those kinds of things, that can take, an hour sometimes to get through all of that stuff. So, any questions about arrival? No. Okay. And I think what we'll do is we can send you a picture of Malachi and a picture of Pernal for those of you who haven't had the chance to meet either of them, just so you know what they look like, who to be looking for. So, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. They'll bring you to the Kimberly House in the Observatory neighborhood. So if you want to, just Google Observatory neighborhood, Kimberly Road or something like that, you should be able to get an idea of about where you will be in the city of Cape Town. They usually have either room assignments or just have you pick your roommate, but they don't want you to be in the same room as someone from your home institution. We do have 19 students who are going. We had one person who had to withdraw. So it is, I believe it is 5 male and 14 female students. And then there will also be a resident assistant living in the house with you. It's going to be a new resident assistant for your semester. So Malachi's in that hiring process right now, but we will know who that is before you go. But it's usually a female graduate student from the University of the Western Cape. That first week is really a busy time for you guys. You're going to be doing your cultural orientation with Malachi. You're going to be doing your UWC orientation. That Tuesday, I think, is usually when you go to UWC and really start looking at the classes you're going to choose. Do any of you have questions about that first week? It's a lot going on. People like to go out and see the area of the city you're in and experience things right away. We really want to emphasize with you that, again, you are in a different culture. You don't know the cultural norms yet. We really want you to be cautious with alcohol. Again, not going out by yourself at all. You're going to be jet lagged and it's a new place, and we want to make sure that everybody stays safe. So during that orientation week, you'll also be visiting some of the service learning sites. So if Malachi hasn't sort of assigned you to a site yet, he will work with you to visit some of them and see which ones might be a good fit for you. I don't know, he may have been in touch with some of you already about service sites if you've already submitted your resume and your service site questionnaire and everything that's required. Do any of you have any questions that have come up about the service site placement? Christina, I think you're on mute. I can see your mouth moving, but...
Yeah, it's like, okay, there we go.
Okay.
The service sites that we pick from, is it just the ones on the website?
Those are the ones that we currently use. Not all of them are going to be guaranteed to have a space next semester available, and it could be that 1 or 2 are added. So it kind of depends. Do you have one that's not listed there in mind?
Not particularly. I'm just looking into like arts programs probably.
Okay.
So I'll look and see if there's anything.
Okay. I would say it's probably going to be best and most efficient for you if you just fill out that service site questionnaire and really emphasize that you want something in like fine arts or theater or film, whatever, whichever area you would like. And Malachi has been pretty good about being able to identify those kinds of things. And it could be that there could be one of our service sites that needs a project done for them if that's something you're interested in doing, is creating a video or something. I guess I'm not extremely familiar with your level of interest with different aspects of that, but as long as you're clear with that in your service site questionnaire, You should be able to
Okay.
help you find something.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Other questions? Okay, we realize that, is our picture frozen to you guys too? Okay, I don't know what's going on. We look amazing. We'll try and restart it here. So, oh no. Now everybody else froze. Okay. Okay, can you guys still hear me? Yes, okay, good. Like, I hope I didn't mess that up. Okay, sorry, we might have disappeared for good now, but at least you can hear us. So again, to go over the courses for UWC, you're going to be taking 2 to 3 courses at UWC. And right now we are working on we have to change the way we're doing credit equivalency for the courses. So really, there's sort of a point level with each course at UWC, and that point level ratio to US credits is, I believe, 5 to 1. So if you see a UWC class that is worth 15 credits, that's like a 3-credit course in the US. So some of the courses are 10 credits. A lot of them are 10, 15, or 20, but there are a couple that are 30, and there are a couple that are 5. So really what you will need to do is make sure you take at least 2 courses, at least 30 credits from UWC. And then you can take 3 courses if you would like, but you definitely shouldn't take more than probably 45 UWC credits. So somewhere between 31 and 45 is what you should be looking at for 2 or 3 courses.
We have to mandatorily take 2. So are you saying like pick another 1 on top of that? Right?
So you can take 2 as long as they're each at least 15 credits or they equal at least 30.
Right, because we already have the 2 that we have to take.
Right, so I'm talking about the 2 UWC courses on top of the 2 that you have to take. The 2 that you have to take are automatically 3 credits each because those are Marquette taught courses.
I have a question about that. Can we get an email with the syllabus of those 2 courses to get them approved by our school?
Yes. I can certainly send that to you. They should have it. I mean, they have students, your school has students on our program almost every semester, so I would think they already have it. They already have an equivalency determined, but we can certainly send out the syllabi to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other questions about that? Okay. Just, again, remember there might be some classes, hopefully Malachi in the next couple weeks will be able to send you a more comprehensive list of the courses that are actually going to be offered during the spring. He does get a list from UWC, a few weeks in advance, so it could it's probably not going to be before Thanksgiving break, but probably before you leave for the semester. So then you'll have a better idea of which courses are actually going to be offered. Just remember that, if they're within different colleges or whatever, there could be time conflicts still or classes could fill. So we still want to make sure you have plenty of courses to choose from when you go. Because as you may remember me telling you from the previous sessions, that is historically one of the most stressful points of the semester. It's when you're first there and everything's new, and then it is a process to get enrolled in courses. So trust that it will all work out in the end, but it's probably not going to be a completely smooth road to get there. So we do encourage you to look at the Institute for Social Development courses, the ISD courses. Malachi will send out which ones of those will be offered again for this. And I should really be using the term semester 1 for you because that's what they'll use at UWC instead of, we call it our spring semester, but because it's going to be fall in the Southern Hemisphere, that kind of confuses things for them sometimes. So their year is really more like a calendar year. So it starts in the end of January and goes through December. So the semester you're going to be there is their semester one. That makes sense. But yeah, the ISD courses I was talking about are sort of like honors courses. Our students have had really positive feedback about them. You know, you don't need to be in the honors program at your home university or anything like that to be able to take them, but we really encourage students to look at those because they've been some of the ones students have found as the most valuable in the past. You know, again, about the academic details, I know we talked about this a little bit in your interviews and things, just that the grading scale can be very different there. It's a 74, 75 and above, it's an A. But they also have much stricter grading than we tend to have here. So, I mean, our students have done pretty well in the past on this program, but because it's a different teaching style, different learning style, you know, we want to make sure, especially at the beginning, that you're making sure you're getting your readings done and doing what you need to do. You'll also want to make sure you check with your home institution to find out how the grades are applying. So each of you will receive a Marquette transcript listing both the 2 required courses and the UWC courses. So you just want to make sure you know if it's pass-fail credit, if you're going to receive grades, things like that. Does that make sense? Okay. And the other thing I like to point out is even if your home institution is only considering it pass-fail credit, if any of you are thinking about graduate school or medical school or law school or anything like that, oftentimes those schools will request the transcript from the institution you attended during your time abroad as well. So they will probably still see those grades at some point. So just keep that in mind. We've had some students who go abroad and think, oh, I just have to get a C to pass, and then it comes time for them to apply to law school and they run into some questions. So I think other things, just we really want to make sure that you guys get involved at UWC. I know we had one woman play on the UWC soccer team a couple of years ago. We have a couple of guys on the UWC basketball team this semester. We've had people perform in plays or be in the choir, you know, different student organizations and things like that. So we really encourage you to, you know, get to know the students at UWC. It can be tempting, I think, to just kind of stay with that Marquette group that you're living with, or that core group that you're living with. And, you know, that can be comfortable. And we do want you guys to, you know, get to know each other and get along. But we want to make sure that you're learning about the local community and culture and everything, too, while you're there. So feel free to look into some of those options through UWC as well. We talked a little bit about service sites. Again, you know, once you know the type of service site you want to go to, or if you have questions, I know students often have questions about what they should wear on the days they go to their service sites, what they should pack, and that kind of depends on the service site you're going to. I would say there's not going to be anything that's going to be extremely dressy, you know, real business. It's going to be probably more business casual at the nicer end, and more, you know, you're going to be sitting on the floor playing with toddlers at the more casual end. So it kind of depends on what you think you're going to be doing. Okay, how about now? Okay, can you see me? Yes, wonderful. Okay, good. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. So, sorry, I was just saying, so on the more casual end, it would be like you're sitting on the floor playing with little kids. So, sort of depending on what you want to do, I would say, you can bring one or two outfits that are nice, or if you plan on going to church every week, people tend to dress up a little bit more, going to church there. But you probably won't need anything really, really nice, I guess. So I guess I'm just curious to hear from each of you. What are some of your hopes and goals for the program or for your service learning? And anybody can go, just so some of you can kind of hear from each other.
I think that especially like after reading the Culturegram and really seeing that like the effects of apartheid are still so like prevalent in their society, and that like there's such a difference between like how whites live and how people of other ethnicities live. I really want to learn how they're trying to kind of heal from that and what efforts are being taken, and just kind of learn like what their society is like, because I know that it's so different from ours. So I think that that's kind of what I want to get out of it, like what their lifestyle is like, and just everything about their culture. So yeah, South Africa.
Okay. Christina, you look like you were about to talk before.
Okay. I guess I'm definitely on the same line as Natalie. The main reason why I picked this program is because we do get to go to the service sites, and that's something that's really important to me, that I'll be able to like use my time to kind of give back, and I can learn as much as I can about South Africa, like before going, but it's going to be totally different actually going to be being there and being immersed in the culture, and I think that's what I'm really looking forward to the most. So I really want to bring back that experience with me. It's going to, like, you also posted an article in one of the emails, I forget which website it was about, but it was talking about how a lot of students like go to London or like Paris and it still feels like their college town kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to it not being like that at all, and really kind of challenging me in different ways.
Great. Who else?
I can go next.
Okay.
Yeah, very similar too. I think that it's just very unique from the program, and the way that I can connect with the culture in like all aspects. But I'm really like looking forward to hearing like stories from people and really like making a connection. I think that's really important too, and like helping with learning about the culture. So I think I'm just looking forward to like connecting with people in a very different way than other programs would have you connect.
Yeah, kind of going along those lines. Being able to say, like Christina was saying, how a lot of students will go to London or all these places and find it very similar to what they're used to, and to be able to spend an entire semester with like very limited travel, and how like spread everything in South Africa is, and being able to like fully immerse myself in the culture of Cape Town and those who we are living with, and the community that we are like taking part in. I think that's probably what I'm most looking forward to, is really getting to like make those connections. And I was speaking with some graduates, or like SLU alum, who have been in the program, and they were telling me to go to this certain cafe and make sure to ask for so and so, because there's a picture on the wall that has their name on the back of it, and they promised they could get it back one day, and all this stuff. It's just like being able to like make those connections and have those conversations, and be immersed in that way is just, I'm very much looking forward to that.
That's too funny.
Ethan, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys want to go?
Well, I just completely agree with what everyone has said. I think like this is like the most like unique study abroad opportunity, and I'm just so excited to be able to like do service abroad, and it's something like I just always wanted to do, and hopefully we'll do like later in life as well, and just like what everyone said, like just truly being able to like, I don't know, like learn a different culture and be there and like fully immersed, and yeah, not like traveling every weekend in like Europe or going somewhere, like truly like going to like Africa and like a different place.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying not to like set certain expectations for myself because I don't really know like what to expect truly. So it's kind of like, I don't want to think about it a certain way. I just want to like keep my mind open. I mean, I know it's gonna be completely different than Europe, but I want to be able to like, go in without a certain expectation of how much different is really gonna be, so that I'm not like let down or anything.
Right.
So, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Carolina?
I think I agree with what everyone has been saying. What I'm really excited about the program is that it has a lot of opportunities for us to really create meaningful relationships, either with like the students within the program and with students at the university and people at our site. And I'm interested in seeing what their perspective is of the U.S. That way we can really like understand what our place is in the international sphere, not just see the world through just U.S. lens, But I'm really excited to meet a lot of people, and I think it'll be a beautiful experience.
Great. And Casey, are you there?
Yeah, definitely going along with everyone else. I'm just like excited to be pushed outside of my comfort zone because I mean this is a very unique experience and something like I've never done before. But also just being able to be like fully immersed in like the community and get to know so many new people through it. So I'm just excited.
Great. And I think what a lot of you said is a lot of what we're looking for participants on this program, and that's really great. I think when it comes to, hearing people's stories and those types of things, one thing we just really want you to keep in mind is that, these people have a lot of times a new group of students come each semester who want to hear their stories. And, that they're often very excited to share stories with you, but it might take some time, for a lot of them, they're not going to share a lot of real deep things with people they don't know. So it might take, a number of weeks even before, when you've been working with them, before they're really going to want to open up to you. So just keeping that in mind and, respecting that, which I think all of you will, but, you're not going to be able to go in and just sit down with them one-on-one right away and start hearing about their lives. Because, that is their life. They're going about work and what they need to be doing too. So just trust that it will come in time, but that it might come time. Let's see, what else? A couple things about where you're going to be living. We have some pictures online of K-House. If you want to look at those, again, there's like 3 smaller size refrigerators, there's 2 stoves and ovens, but it is you're cleaning up after yourselves, you're doing your dishes. A lot of times groups will set up like a cooking rotation, so maybe once a week 2 or 3 people will take turns making a meal for the whole group. Those first couple of days, Malachi will have some kind of basics in the house for you, so you have some food to eat right away, and there'll be a couple meals that are sort of pre-arranged during that first week, but there are 2 grocery stores that are nearby that you'll be able to go to, and the prices are a little bit less expensive than here, but it depends on the item, but some things, it's not going to be extremely more or less. Just remember that you're sharing the space, I think is the most important thing with K-House, and try and come up with some, if not really rules, but guidelines for, you all respecting each other's space and doing things. There are one or two people who will come every once in a while to do some of the more central cleaning things. So they'll come and they'll like wash the floors or clean the bathrooms, but they're not there to pick up your clothes off the floor or do your laundry or do your dishes. You know, it's really just kind of the basic making sure the house in general is taken care of type of cleaning. So, you know, make sure you're cleaning up after yourself and things like that.
For those that are maybe scared of bugs, you don't want the dirty dishes
Right.
sitting in the sink and stuff like that.
There are bugs in Cape Town. There are cockroaches in Cape Town. That I saw Carolina's eyes got huge. You should find an alumni of the program to talk to about the cockroaches. They do exist. You know, Malachi says he even has them in his house. We always have them sprayed for and things, but you know, it's another place that you're living.
I have them in my apartment in Milwaukee, so they live everywhere. But they're not awful, but as long as you know cleaning up after yourself and doing your dishes will only help the situation.
Right. What else? There is Wi-Fi at K-House. There's actually 2 separate Wi-Fi lines, but you also have to remember that there's going to be 20 people in the house using those 2 lines. So the other thing is in Cape Town there are, and through our Wi-Fi lines, there are sort of monthly usage restrictions. So it's not all completely unlimited. So make sure you're, you know, just being knowledgeable of when you're using Wi-Fi for what. We ask that you try not to, you know, stream movies real often because then that slows down the internet for everybody else. You know, some of those kinds of things. So just to keep that in mind. The other thing is right now Cape Town is going through water rationing. So the students there are, I mean, they're able to shower every day if they want to and things like that. But I know that the owner of the house has gone about some other ways to try and collect rainwater to use, like to reroute to the toilets or, you know, to not be watering any plants or anything like that with the tap water because the entire city is sort of in a water shortage right now. It should be better by the time you guys are there, but just so you know that there can be some of that concern too. So, you know, the shorter the showers you can take or, you know, when you're doing dishes, make sure you don't leave the water running. Those kinds of things are always best. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, I think most people bring their own computer, laptop. We do have an office that's near the house that there's an extra computer at and there's a printer at, so you guys can use that. Or there's ones at UWC as well. Let's see, have any of you thought about getting money before you go? Yes, okay. So do you know what the exchange rate is right now? Does anybody know that?
1 to
0.069 to $1. I looked it up.
So what is that the other way?
Isn't it? Oh gosh. Well, it's really different.
It's been like 13 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's on Google, but I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So right now it's about 14 rand to 1. So you'll get really good at calculating that in your head. Sometimes students decide to get some rand in advance of going just so they have some cash. You know, that's completely up to you. You're going to get picked up at the airport. There are money changing places at the airport and ATMs. You don't always get the best rate at the airport, but you know, that's something to consider. Most major banks you can go to, and if they don't have that currency on hand, they can order it for you. So that might be something you want to think about doing.
Um, I heard that from a friend that lives there that for ATMs you should be careful. I guess with like card reading
Yeah.
theft.
So I would say it's a good idea to use ATMs that are, sort of banks are set up where you walk in one set of doors and they'll have some ATMs there, and then there's another set of doors to go into the actual bank. Those are probably safer than the ones that are just out on the street, because they have more cameras on them and there's a little bit more monitoring of those things. But definitely do be careful, cover your hand when you're putting your PIN in. You know, definitely call your bank or credit card company or whatever it is in advance to let them know that you're going to be in South Africa, and the dates you're going to be there. And if you decide to travel while you're there, it might be good for you to call again to let them know, hey, I'm going to be in this other country, because they do look for suspicious charges. And if they start seeing them showing up in Cape Town, they could freeze your account. It's always good to, keep any credit or debit cards separate from each other. Don't ever carry them all on you at once. Maybe have one in your room and one, in your wallet, and I don't know, something like that. Yeah. You shouldn't be carrying your passport around once you get there, unless you're going to be going to another country or something like that. Make sure you write down all of your credit card numbers, and the international number that's on the back. So if your card is lost or stolen, you have the phone number to call and you have your credit card number, so you can report that.
Might even be a good idea too to like make copies of your documents and leave them with your family at home. So copy of your visa, your study permit, copy of your passport, copy of your cards front and back, so that your parents have those numbers as well, just in case.
Does anyone else have any recommendations, those of you who have traveled abroad? Anything else you're going to do that maybe we didn't touch on?
Well, I don't have any recommendations. I have another question, just like about banking. I know that there's like a section on this in the handbook, but I don't know. Like, I just like want to know like if you have any advice as far as like how to approach it. Like if like what people have found is like the best way. If it's like getting like going to like a U.S. bank, like a national U.S. bank, and ones that like work well in South Africa, or yeah, I don't know, just like how to approach it.
So definitely don't plan on opening a bank account in South Africa. You don't want to do that. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Did we freeze again? I can't see or hear any of you. Wait, okay. Okay, can you hear me again? Okay, sorry. So don't plan on opening a bank account in South Africa. It's very confusing and they charge lots of fees and things. So what we often recommend is that if you have your own bank account and you're the only person whose name is officially associated with it, that you have a parent or guardian or someone that you give temporary like custody of the account to. So if something needs to be done with it while you're gone, they have all the permissions they need to be able to do that. Other things with banking, it can be make sure you know what your credit limits are. Some people will set up a separate checking account just for their time abroad, so they can be just transferring smaller amounts of money into it. That's especially a good idea if you have a larger sum of money in your regular bank account, because you need to keep in mind that while that money is insured, if someone would get a hold of your debit card and your PIN number, they could withdraw all the money out of your account. Other things, trying to think, making copies of your documents, calling your bank. You're going to want either MasterCard or Visa. American Express and Discover are not that widely accepted there. I know that I have a Target Red card and they don't have any international fees. So that's always the card that I use abroad, as odd as it sounds, because I also have like Chase and another card, and they have like, certain percentages that they charge every time you use it abroad. So the Target card, just call your bank and ask them what fees they are and make sure you know what those fees are. So you're being conscious of how much you're getting charged each time you take money out, or how much you're getting charged each time you make a purchase on a credit card. There's also daily limits for checking accounts sometimes, that you can only take out a certain amount per day. So just know what those things are. And if you don't know what questions to ask, just literally call them up and say, I'm traveling abroad, what do I need to know? And there should be things that they can go over with you. Other questions about that?
We're getting for cell phones. You mentioned that we're getting a cell phone or something like that.
Yes. You will be getting smartphones. I believe they are Android. This semester right now is the first semester we're actually doing this. So I think it's been going well. I know that students have been hesitant to not also take their personal phone with them wherever they go, but part of the reason we are getting you phones that are not just like the brick phones that we used to get is so you don't carry your personal phone with you, so you don't lose or have your personal phone stolen. So even though it'll take you a little bit of time when you first get there, transfer your numbers over to the phone you're going to have for the program, and download the apps you're going to need or whatever, and then really try and just leave your personal phone back at K-House, because then there's less risk of it being lost or stolen. But yeah, I think what we do is I'm going to have to ask Malachi to confirm what kind of plan we have for you. I know that we'll cover, it's like domestic messages and calls, and some data is included, but then if you want more international minutes or things like that, those you have to get on your own. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And most people, we've been hearing that like WhatsApp is what people really use in Cape Town a lot. So, people you meet there and whatever are probably communicating via WhatsApp. I use like Facebook, the video messenger, to call home a lot, or Skype or FaceTime or something like that. Yeah. Health insurance. Do you have any other questions about that before I move on? You all froze again. Oh. Okay, you froze again. Okay. So any other questions on that before we move on?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, Caroline, I can see your moving, but okay.
Maybe you covered this while I took off my headphones, but if you need more minutes, how would we go about getting those?
So there are different places where you can add minutes to your phone there, and it's sort of like you go and pay a certain amount to get minutes, and then you sort of spend down from that as you use them, and then you can top up or add more minutes. So it's not here like how most plans are, like you buy a monthly plan and that's just what you have, or it's unlimited. There it's like you purchase a certain number of minutes that you use, and you can add to it at any time. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Again, going into safety, that's going to be a big focus, of Malachi's when you get there. Again, we know you're adults. We know you are, independent individuals, but just remember you're in a new and different place that is very different from what you're used to. Don't go out by yourselves at night ever, even when you're, 2 months into the program. We encourage you to go out with others during the day. Certainly if you go hiking or running or something like that, make sure you're with someone else. If you have to run to the grocery store, get someone to go with you. Again, it's sort of the better to be safe than sorry, and you're not guaranteed anything being with one other person or with a group, but it can help. Let's see what else. We'll be reaching out to you. You guys should all have a medical form that we want you to fill out. You can disclose as much or as little as you want, but that's really to help in the case of an emergency while you are abroad. If you do disclose some things that, we just want to follow up and make sure you know what medications are legal, or, if certain medical conditions might be treated different ways in different countries. We'll reach out to you based on what we know, but we encourage you to research that as well if you have a more serious health concern. Again, make sure you know about the insurance you're covered by, if it's through your home university or if it's through GeoBlue with Marquette. There is sort of a local clinic hospital that's nearby at the University of Cape Town, near where you're going to be living, that we've had students go to, and they've had really good experiences with them in the past. So, Malachi will make sure you guys know where that is. But especially that first week, please just make sure you're getting enough rest and enough water and taking care of yourself, because the stress and the time change and everything can just often do a number on people. So,
as you know,
right.
Carly just got back from Chile and Uruguay and a few other places. Buenos Aires and.
So I had a very stressful and delayed flight and got there, and my luggage was lost for 6 days, and I had nothing except what was in like my briefcase bag. And I arrived at later in the evening, and I can tell you I was very happy to have my medications in my carry-on luggage, so absolutely do that. Think about anything that you don't want to survive 3 or 4 days without, and put that in your carry-on luggage. So,
underwear,
if
your luggage gets lost, silly things like that can sometimes make sense if you're in a situation.
And then you cut out again. I don't know how much of that you heard, but make sure you know the luggage limits for the airline you're going to be on. It's becoming pretty standard, but just make sure your bags aren't too heavy, your carry-on's not too big. I know you've all flown kind of different amounts and have different levels of familiarity with that. If you are worried about flying and want to make sure you're on the same flight as someone else the whole way, you can ask us and we can get you in touch with other people on the program. Sometimes it's nice to just know the person you're sitting next to, too. So, yeah. Let's see, what else? I guess just a final reminder to be mindful of how you're representing yourself while you're there, how you're representing the U.S., how you're representing your home university in Marquette. You'll run into people who have met with other students who have done this program before, or you might run into people who have never met anyone from the U.S. So, just be mindful of your interactions. Have any of you had a chance to read any of A Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela yet? No? Okay. I encourage all of you to read it. It is required reading for the program. I encourage you to read it, at least start it before you go. I am going to give you a heads up that the first couple chapters they're long. They're not necessarily the most exciting thing, but it gives you a good idea of his background, and then it really gets into, I guess it gives you a good idea of when he was younger, sort of more tribal customs, with within South Africa. But then, you know, a lot of good information about apartheid and the fight against it and how, you know, what kind of negotiations they had to make to get out of it. So I would say it might be a slow read in the beginning, but power through it. And, you know, you'll be glad you did read it and you have that background when you get there. There's also a list of readings, I believe, that are in the handbook. We'll double check that. If not, we'll send them to you. You know, other books you can read, videos you can watch, some of those kinds of things that, you know, can be helpful. Trying to think of what else. Each of you will probably get an email in the next day or two from Marquette, because we're officially putting you in Marquette's student information system. So you might get an email with saying, congratulations, you've been accepted to Marquette, or something like that with a Marquette ID number. You know, really, if you're going to have items payable to Marquette, you'll be able to use that to log in like you can at your home institution to see how much you owe, but definitely, you know, work with your home institution on that and make sure you understand that. Otherwise, there shouldn't be a whole lot you'll need to do with your Marquette account. We just have to get you in the system as Marquette students for this semester. Yeah, I feel like we've talked about a lot of the other things. You know, when you get there, it's going to be warmer and it'll cool off as you're there. But I think all of you are, none of you are from LMU, right? So I think all of you are from relatively cooler climates that when they say it gets really cold there, it's sort of like fall weather for most of us. So, you know, make sure you're packing for the seasons, but you know, it's not gonna get like below zero or probably even below freezing, even towards the end of your time there. So, do any of you have any other questions about packing? I know there's a packing list in the handbook as well. That I think even our just last group updated the packing list based on their recommendations. Anything else? Anything else from orientation that we didn't touch on?
I don't
think so.
Not really.
And there we froze again.
Frozen.
I think this is sending us a message.
Yes.
I think the internet is sending us a message.
Oh, they're off.
Okay. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think the internet
wants us
to be done. So, if there aren't any other questions, then remember to do that IDI, the Intercultural Development Inventory that you're getting from Jessica Lothman via email. And then we might try and do another Skype session of some sort before you go. So just keep watching for emails. Otherwise, email us with any questions you have.
Did you
I'll
say
email you guys about the IDI session probably today before I leave.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Great.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.